Good evening, everybody. It's the pollinator. And listen, a little housekeeping. Um, if you like the content of my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. The button is over here to subscribe anyway. And the like button is down here somewhere. Um, Anyway, I've had very little preparation for this one, so I may actually make two of them about this topic um, because I had certain things in mind that struck me emotionally versus, with a lot of facts and quotes and you name it. There's a lot about this man that that I need to research and listen to some of his podcasts. He was a radio personality. He was the Black Eagle by the name of Joe Madison. He passed away this morning on the first day of Black History Month. You'll have to excuse me. I'm a little raggedy today. So is my presentation. Starting to get these gray hairs in my beard too that are just popping up, but I keep cutting them off and they keep growing back faster than anything else. But anyway, so back to Mr. Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. He's really kind of the last of his breed of black men in this country that no matter what, he was out to make a difference, and he was out to make you uncomfortable with the things that he spoke about. There were quite a few quotes that I'm going to lay out in the next video about him after I research him a little bit. And the reason why I don't know about this man is because during the time that he became really, really, really popular, I was in that 14-year depression, that clinical depression that almost took me out of this life. Almost died during that time. And had I not gotten to the hospital when I did, that doctor said I would not have had much longer to live. I was really messed up. I couldn't walk straight. Something about okay, I don't want to get into that story, but something about a massive migraine. And my head didn't hurt that whole time, but whatever was going on was enough to knock me off balance to where I couldn't walk. And I ended up in the hospital. But anyway, and earlier that day, I almost ended up in fucking Carter Lake in front of the airport in Omaha because I was sleeping in my car out there. I was homeless. So back to Joe Madison. The reason why this man struck me and the things that people were saying about him, I saw the memorial that Roland Martin in his show, Roland Martin Unfiltered, did tonight. And it was, it had him crying. I'm going to link that video to this one, probably at the end. But it left him crying, and I guess not only because he was a good friend of Roland's, but also the magnitude of the fact that we are losing men and women who had a type of courage that just does not exist today. If it exists in the space of around the internet and social media, in places where we can't get kick-started because the establishment is so afraid of us that they just bury us very quickly. That is why, one of the reasons anyway, why I was booted off of Facebook, because they saw my courage, they saw my power and my passion, and they saw my intelligence. was talking with somebody about this yesterday, about how the fact that when you are outspoken, intelligent, I don't even have to have a bunch of numbers and facts and statistics when I speak, because I speak from my heart. I don't speak from facts and figures, and it's probably why, part of why my channel isn't very big, aside from the fact that I don't make videos all the time or scheduled videos. I don't speak once a week or once every day and all of that kind of stuff. I probably would be a lot bigger if I did, if I took YouTube on as a job. I'm fairly sure I might blow up. I might. I'm seriously considering it. I still have to have topics to talk about, and I refuse to do the videos the type of videos that everybody's doing these days, where they put up a picture, a video of somebody really famous, and then talk about what was going on in that video and your opinion about it. Those have become very popular these days, and I don't even know how to do that. I'm sure I could figure that out very quickly. Just do a YouTube search on how people are doing that, and somehow incorporate it into my my available equipment. Here, I make all of my videos with my phone, with an iPhone. I might have to switch to my computer, my laptop, if I'm going to make videos like that. But I still say that's part of the nonsensical, drama-filled, a dopamine. Am I saying it right? No, dopamine hits to people's brains that they're looking for out there, of the videos that go viral. It's all about the drama, folks, and I am not someone who is chasing clout. I am not someone who is, name drops and does that a lot, or wants to talk about other people's videos. They have to be inspired. I have to be inspired to talk about things. And, when I had a platform, it was much easier to do because I saw more during the day, and I could come up with things very quickly and very easily about what to talk about. Plus, I've been taking care of my own mental health, given the targeting that is happening to us across the country, bills introduced state by state by state. I'm just absolutely disgusted and alarmed at what Americans are doing to certain other Americans that don't fit their nice little cisgender heterosexual mold in this country. And so I've been laying low, trying to keep my balance, trying to keep my head, trying to keep from being freaking out, being anxious, being angry, being overly anxious, overly angry, overly, to the point where I can't function. So I have been doing that for the past few months, and I'm all over the place, but I'm just not on YouTube. Anyway, Joe Madison, the Black Eagle, was a hell of a man, and I regret not having seen his radio show. Now, also the fact that his radio show aired in the morning, and I am not a morning person. I'm a day sleeper. I'm a night walker. I am nocturnal. I operate best at night versus the day. So I might have missed most of what that man was about because I don't operate during the hours that he did. But he's the last of a dying breed of people who weren't afraid of the establishment. You know, he was around when MLK and Malcolm X and all of those characters, John Lewis, all of those characters, he was around during that time. And so he had a lot of that momentum. He had a lot of that fire. He had a lot of that no nonsense approach to politics, no nonsense approach to life, no nonsense approach to probably himself. I would, again, have to research some of what he was about during his reign. And a lot of people were upset. It was very, very, very heavy in there tonight. It was so heavy that I started cutting up with some people in there just to lighten it up a little bit, because it was very, very apparent that that man is going to be missed. And he was very powerful, and he had a lot of pull in this country. And again, he was not afraid to tell the truth. He wasn't afraid to call you out on stuff. He wasn't afraid to shut you up. He wasn't afraid. He cussed. He had a jar, some kind of jar that he would put money in. Sometimes before the show even started, because he knew he was going to come out with a lot of fire. He would just stick $100 in the jar and then tell everybody this is going to be a barn burner, and that he was going to be cussing during the show. Because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that think that swearing on camera, on TV, on the air, on the radio, whatever, that is unacceptable, you know. Listen, if half of those people who make those decisions that it's unacceptable had to live our life, they would not have a problem with cursing anywhere. You know, people wonder why we're angry, culturally angry people. We come across as angry when a lot of times we're just very, very passionate about what we believe in, about what we think, about what we know. And it's not really anger, but it'll come off that way. They wonder why black people are like that. Since slavery. And today we're only living a modern version of that slavery. We are still highly oppressed. We are still discriminated against. The racism is still very, 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 very rampant in this country. I don't care what anybody says. But you know why I related so much to the little bit I saw about Joe Madison? Because he sounded just like me. You know, I never made this channel to make people comfortable. I never made it to make them laugh. I made it to tell the truth. I speak truth to power. Anybody who has worked closely with me knows this. And it's something that people admire while they're afraid of and intimidated at the same time. Especially when they don't want to hear it. You know what? They don't want to hear the truth, because the truth has become a dirty word in this country. People don't appreciate honesty. They may admire it from afar, but they're afraid of it at the same time. Why do you think things like CRT, DEI, any of that stuff, why they're putting that at the forefront of society when it was never forefront? It was never stopping anything from happening in this country. It's just another control mechanism. Honesty about where this country comes from, what this country has done to certain people in this country. They don't want their children to know the truth, and they don't want to know the truth about what's really going on in this country. Keep people dumb, keep people ignorant, keep people not knowing the truth about anything, and they can be fooled by everything. what was that saying? If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. If you don't stand for something honest and truthful, you are going to fall for anything. If somebody says the sky is purple, you're literally going to look up and convince yourself that it's actually purple. That is what that's what this 45 character, the orange orangutan, he's got a gazillion freaking nicknames. That is what he's about. And that's why they don't care that he's a liar, a bona fide liar. He opens his mouth, he's lying. But they have convinced themselves that something behind that is more true for them than his lies, which is the same bullshit that they have been promising since they drug us over to this country, which is, if you go along with our program, we will make sure you do better than them. That's it in a nutshell. That's what white supremacy is all about. That's what, get people hating and fearing and panicking that another group of people that they've been keeping suppressed in this country all this time might rise, might get some of their privilege, and might get some of the American pie. Keep them convinced that that's a threat, and they will do anything to hold on to their privilege, hold on to their advantages in this country, keep us under the thumb, keep a theoretical knee on our neck. See, I speak truth to power. You can't deny it. But we are not, I'm not entertaining you. I'm telling you things, and I'm saying things from my perspective of life, my viewpoint of life, and my experiences of life. So this Joe Madison was one heck of a guy, one heck of a man, one heck of a black man. And they're all going away. That's what I was talking with my she's my ex, but that I was talking with her about, that they're all leaving. They're all dying. And there's nobody left that is like them. That's the devastating part, is that somehow, some way, and they're pointing a lot of blame at boomers, that why these young people and don't have any balls, why they don't have any courage, why they've got a yellow streak on their back. They're literally blaming older generations for this phenomenon of people who have no guts, no glory, can't replace men like Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. There's nobody left. They're all dying, and I don't see anybody in sight that can speak with that, with the pull that he has, the platform that he had. He had his own radio show, and I think it was a Sirius. I'm not saying that word right, but it was a satellite radio show. Sirius. Sirus. Sirius. Anyway, there's nobody left that will speak truth to power like that and has the same kind of pull, knows the same kind of people. Because the people that he knew are as old as he is. And they are leaving too. They killed all our leaders of the civil rights movement. And ever since, there hasn't been enough black men and women to take the place of those people. Angela Davis. A lot of people that they called communists back during the 1960s. And what's weird is communism is on the rise. These people who claim to be Christians, more like evangelicals, are acting like communists. And nobody's calling them out on it. Nobody's holding them accountable for it because they're all chicken shit scared to buck the system. That goes for any kind of person. Black, white, red, brown, yellow. All of them are just trying to keep their head above water and not drown through this goddamn economy that has spun out of control. And nobody's holding them accountable either. The gatekeepers of all that shit, nobody's holding them accountable. They're just letting them run rampant too. The FCC, the FTC, the ACLU, all of those organizations are not doing anything to stop these people. They're trying. The ACLU is doing more than the others that I mentioned. They have jumped in bed with big business and are letting them do whatever they want to do. So everybody is trying to keep their head above water and keep from snowing under while the middle class disappears. And you have to be upper middle class to upper class to survive. And keep, while they're creating messes over here, they're doing something over there. This whole country is corrupt. Nobody's holding anybody accountable for that either. And people like Joe Madison was doing exactly that. He was trying to anyway. What can one man do? I need 100 like him. And there is not 100 like him. With his connections, with his celebrity. They're not letting anybody like that rise. Soon as they probably start to rise, and if they're young, they're going to smack them down. Make sure they don't succeed using any of their platforms. It's almost like they have to make their own platform. Or have the kind of smarts and education that Roland Martin has. Now, Roland Martin is not a leader. He is a journalist. He is a newsman. And I've seen people sitting right there in the lives of his videos. Why don't you run for office? Why don't you do this? Why don't you lead the people? Why don't you? Well, because he's reporting news to black people the way black people need to see it. Because all these other mainstream news channels, they're not doing shit. In fact, they're switching the narrative and they're lying and they're trying to rewrite history or suppress it. One of those two things, they're doing it. Starting with false news, Fox News, and other mainstream media outlets are not telling the truth. And Roland tells us the truth. He's reporting the facts. And he spends a lot of time on people that mainstream media will give a 2-minute segment about. How many people on mainstream media, heard about this man dying today? How many? And how long was the segment? How long did they talk about him? Is devastating to Roland and a whole lot of people that were in that live tonight. And white people could care less. They're probably going, one more, out the door. Because they are afraid of people like him. And I pine for people like him. I'm looking around and noticing they're all leaving. And it breaks my heart. Because there's nobody like them. There's nobody even trying to be like him. They're just gone, and they take all their wisdom, their passion, their compassion for black people. They're taking all that. They're taking it all with them. Even if he passed the baton, the people he's passing it to have to pick it up and run with it. They have to take it and run with it. And the way I'm seeing it is they take the baton, they drop it, and they stare at it like it's the boogeyman. Our younger generations, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why they refuse to take the batons and run with them. Why they are so weak. Why they are so dumbed down. They don't even know what's being said to them is empowering, and why they're not empowered with all that's our greatest leaders have tried to do in this country. One of the famous things that Mr. Madison said was, okay, you know this, you know that, you know this, you know that, you know this is going on, you know that is going on, blah, 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 blah. What are you gonna do about it? What are you going to do? Not what, who else you can talk about it with. As far as I'm concerned, right now, it's just a bunch of talk. People aren't doing anything about anything. It's an election year. It's probably the most important election year of everybody's life in this country, in the US of A, in the United States, in America, that I spell with 3 Ks before the last A. What's anybody doing? This election, I'm sorry, if the Looney Tune factory over on the right, the GOP, have their way and elect that fucking asshole again and get him in there. Oh, they're stirring up the cheating machine to do exactly that and try to steal that election. If they get in there, they're going to take democracy apart. Trump wants to be a ruler. He wants to be a dictator. Look at the people he admires. He doesn't admire his followers. He just uses them in their ignorance. He wants to rule. He wants to change everything. He wants to throw out the Constitution. And he wants to throw away democracy. What kind of freaking leader is that? And then all these followers of his, if he gets in there and gets his way, you think, they're going to be satisfied with being deputized to do terrible things to other people. Is going to do much for them? I doubt it. What did he do when they did the insurrection after the 2020 election? What did he do for them? Nothing. If they end up in trouble behind following that asshole, he just, oh well. Next. Who's going to take this fallen person's place? I'm horrified. And there's not enough people saying that out loud that got a big ass channels. Lots of people watching them and listening to them and saying, oh no, enough is enough. The other day I ran across a post that released an audio of what some pretty powerful people want to do to transgender people in this country. They want to eliminate all care for all of us. Over the last 6 years, they have been ramping up to try to get rid of us out of society like they did in World War II in Nazi Germany. There was a movie. Shoot, I should have put the name of that movie down here. But there was a movie that explained what happened during, before the war really got into swing in Nazi Germany. They ran them out. Ran them out, killed them, imprisoned them. Transgender people. First, they made it all okay in that whole area for you to be that way. There were all sorts of clubs and, places that they could meet, and they made it okay. Then, because they knew all of the establishments and blah, 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 they turned around and turned the tables. So they knew how to find them, and they just did a number on transgender people. They weren't called that back then, but that's what they were. This was leaked. These people's conversation was leaked to the public, that this is what they plan to do. Step by step, see. First they start talking. And I said this probably 2 or 3 years ago, that they weren't going to stop with the children. So-called trying to protect them. It was full of shit. The boogeymen that they're making up about the children. I said, first they're going to stop them, then they're going to come after adults. Watch. I said it, and not enough people took it seriously, and now look what's going to happen. If the GOP get in control of the government, the day of the inauguration, they're going to push the switch and try to wipe us out. And they're really using old Jim Crow laws, old Jim Crow way of being towards black people. They're pointing it at trans people now and making society fear us. Like we're trying to make a political statement with how we are. No, that ain't it. But is mainstream media seeking any of us out to find out the truth? No. They're promoting those people. They're backing them. Which makes me think they're all fucking liars. And their diversity attitudes in this country. If those same people that quote unquote support us aren't fighting for us, they're liars about being allies. They're not really allies. We don't have any. The LGBTQ plus is just standing by watching us get obliterated. And they're not sticking up for us. Which of course makes us feel some kind of way towards them. I fought for their rights, and now they're sitting here letting us get desecrated, and they're not fighting for ours. A big fuck you to the LGBTQ for not fighting for us the way we fought for you guys when we thought we were one of you. I was out there. But again, I'm kind of old. I'm tired. I don't have that same fire. I don't have that same fight that I had back in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Yeah, the 70s and the 80s. I'm too old to fight like that. The baton has been passed. And young people took it and dropped it on the ground. Complaining is not doing anything. I would tell you all the things that I do on a regular basis, but I don't want to tip my hand to those who would have take issue with it. Been there, done that. They saw everything I was doing and got afraid and canceled me. So, okay, I've made this long enough. I don't speak with a lot of hyperbole. I'm pretty sure if I go back and look at all of my videos that I might have exaggerated something here or there about myself, but for the most part I don't. And I don't. My content is very directed towards something that inspired me enough to speak up about it. I'm going to look up more about Mr. Joe Madison, the Black Eagle, so that I'll be more informed on what he was about. but he pretty much sounds like me with a much bigger platform than I have. I'm trying to get there, folks, but it's slow going because of many different things, including my age and my health that I have to look out for first. And it is what it is. So with that, I will bid you adieu. Until the next time, the pollinator is out.